Hey everybody, welcome back to the How to Foil series with Nathan van Vuuren and James Leigh. Guys, today we're going to be speaking about the notorious beach start. So this is going to be an awesome time. And Nathan, where are we going today, bro?
So today we're going to be looking at two really cool locations here in Cape Town, South Africa. We're going to be looking for a few specific things which we will be going through in this episode. And as always, there will be some crazy wipeouts which involve us. So stay tuned, it's going to be exciting. Okay, there we go. Up, up, up. Go, go, go. Run, run, run. Southern. Get speed. Jump, jump.
Okay guys, so today we're going into the beach start. We're going to be looking at the finer details. I'm going to be learning, Nathan's going to be teaching me. And basically Nathan is like a foil guru and I am an avid foiler. I foil a lot, but in waves. And I've kind of learned how to dock start, but now the next step is to run off a beach. So I think the first thing we want to look at is what spot are we going to be going to?
For sure. So I mean, choosing the right place, the right location, the right beach is very, very important. So what we're going to be looking for today as we go out and try to find some locations is, first of all, a nice flat beach. You want to look for sand, first of all. You don't want to be running through shells and rocks in the sand. That is really sore. You can cut your feet, damage your foil. So find optimal, like nice sand. And then what you want is shallow water with oncoming waves, not a lot of big waves. You kind of want small to almost flat conditions and a big drop off. So what happens as the beach goes out towards the sea, you want it to drop off quite quickly into quite deep spots. So as you're running, as you want to like jump onto your foil, you have enough space to now dip a little bit and not hit the bottom. So you want to find nice beach, nice sand, small waves, and a nice drop off.
So once you find your location that is probably the best spot you can find for beach starting, we got to look at the gear we need to use. So in my brain, I kind of think it feels like we should use the same gear as dock starting. So I mean, off the bat, I feel like I should jump onto one of these big things. We call this the Big Daddy, basically. Yeah. So would this be good for beach starting, kind of similar to dock starting, or how does that work?
So this kind of foil, I would recommend highly for your first couple attempts at a beach start, because you want something that's got a lot of chord, well, that means it's going to have a very low stall speed. So as you're running, you want to get on and not have to worry about getting the pumps in straight away. So you just want to jump on, make sure your footing is correct and that you're comfortable in your position. And during that time, that's like a 3 to 4 second gap longest. You want to make sure that you're gliding above the water, you're not dropping. So something like this is quite big for what we would normally ride, let's say in the waves. But for beach starting, it is perfect because James, you weigh about 90 kilograms. Yes. I'm 74. But even for his weight, he's able to get onto it, not think too much and have a few seconds to hop on and pump away. So this is a good start. But you want to progress. So as you've done maybe 3 to 4 sessions, you've successfully gotten on and you're quite comfortable with hopping onto foil, pumping away, then you can move on to something with a slightly higher aspect, which would be something similar to this. So this is the Glide 220. It's a 1420 square centimeter foil. Incredible. So this is actually what we use after we've warmed up and we've got it going on the bigger foil. We hop over to this. Has a lot more glide, but the stall speed is a little bit higher, which means you have to know what you're doing, have a little bit more experience also on how it feels. So once you're up, the glide is much more on this. It goes forward really nicely. So if you run a little bit faster, sometimes it can almost feel easier on this. But this is another option, something a little bit more high aspect. It can be a bit more twitchy to get onto, but still an incredible foil to get going on.
So picking up a little bit more on the technical side, I've got two different lengths of fuses here. What does this do to your beach start? Because I'm sure it does make it quite a big difference.
So the length of fuse and tailwing makes an incredible difference to getting into the beach start and how easy it can be. So first of all, like we've mentioned, big front wing, and generally what we will do if we're just warming up or we're getting somebody else to learn a beach start, we would recommend a longer fuse, and that reduces the pitch movement so that forward and back movement really stabilizes it. And if you pair a long fuse with a big tail wing, it becomes even easier. So that's what we would recommend for beach starts.
Awesome. And then also mast length, like on dock starting we spoke about an 850 mast can work because you basically jumping off a higher dock. But now we're jumping off the ground, so what length mast would you use?
So when we go beach start, we would generally use a 750 or a 650 even, which is really low. Sometimes if you go too short, it can actually be really hard to keep the foil under the water. So we found 700 to 750 is a really good size for mast.
So we're slowly getting all of our gear together. I think now putting it onto our board, what kind of board would we use for beach starting? Is it similar to dock starting again?
So what you'd want for beach starts, generally we just use our surf foil boards and it seems to work fine, but you do want a slightly thinner board. You don't want to be standing on the beach holding a thick kind of sup. That is really hard. So a thinner board is a lot easier to start on. And then also, I think we'll jump into this, but the amount of angle that you want on the board is also very, very key. You want to make sure that your foil setup is neutral and maybe with a little bit of positive angle on it. But too much lift can be really hard to get going on, because if you're running and the foil just wants to push out the water, it is sometimes very challenging to get onto a foil. So a more neutral setup and a thinner board is a good start.
Because when I foil, I have a lot of front foot pressure on my setup for pumping and for linking waves and stuff. So should I take those shims out when I beach start just to start off?
Yes, so if you have a shim under the mast to give yourself more positive angle, you could probably take that off and leave a tail shim on if you are used to that.
That's good. And then your mast on your board, do you want it all the way forward or a little bit further back?
So we generally go a little bit further back or towards the middle of the foil boxes. Also, depending on what board you have, that does vary on different brands and different boards. But for ours are quite neutral generally. So we go in the middle and maybe a little bit back, because otherwise you have too much lift and the foil just wants to pop out the water as you run down the beach.
Awesome. Yeah, because that now takes us to the next step with beach starting. And that is actually doing the actual beach starts. It's all fun and games talking about it and getting amped. But then push comes to shove and we've got to actually go get in the water. So can you quickly just briefly take us through what do we expect and what do we do now with the beach start from the moment we're putting our foil in the water to jumping on?
There's a lot of very small, intricate feelings that are involved in a beach start, as you'll see in this video. But the first thing is standing on the beach with your board. That is the first step. And that is the coolest thing ever about a beach start. You have the opportunity to run off the beach onto foil and go catch a wave. That is incredible.
So Nate, if you could just give us all like 3 keys that you see people making mistakes on that could really help us with the beach start, what would those 3 things be?
So the first one would involve getting onto the board. That's the first step. So how do you hold it? So this is the board I have. I'm regular, so this is the side I would hold it, on this side. I'm going to have my front hand a little bit forward on the board and my back hand towards the tail of the board. And again, before you start running, a very key point is to make sure the water is pushing against your feet. If you look down, you want to make sure that there is a little current happening towards the back of your foot. You don't want to be running with the water. So as the water comes towards you, it gives your foot a little bit extra lift, which helps out a lot. So wait for the surge. Once you have your hands in the right place, make sure that you give yourself a good run, have a good pace, not too fast, and make sure that you keep the foil underwater. Keeping the foil under the water is very key. And as soon as you have enough speed, you got your hands in the right place, your foil's underwater, wait till the drop off, as we've talked about. As it's deep enough, hop onto your foil, make sure you get both your feet onto the board. I think the first couple times, they're not going to be in the perfect position. So just make sure you get your feet on the board as centered as possible and try gain your balance and make sure you have a brief moment. Okay, everything's in the right place, and then you give your first pump, and that is a very important moment. Make sure you get that pump in, get that nice forward motion, and that's where it'll all come together in the end.
Good morning, everybody. Nathan and I are on our way down to the beach. We're going to practice some beach starts. Still learning the trade, so Nathan's going to give me some tips and hopefully you guys can learn one or two things as well.
Yeah.
Looking beautiful out there, one or two waves, and looks like we found a nice sandbar which sort of starts shallow and goes a little bit deeper, so we can practice running into the water and jumping on our boards and do some pumping. What do you think?
So we are looking for a shallow takeoff, like a sandbank, but it needs to drop off quite quickly so that it's easier to get up on foil without hitting the sand. So looks like we found a spot just on the beach here, so we're gonna go check it out and see if it works.
Oh my word, that was so perfect. Woo! Water is freezing, but very clean. I'm about to go for my first one. Let's see if I pull it off. I think that what I want to do is maybe do a couple of runs where I can just practice keeping the foil in the water running.
Yeah.
Or we're trying to jump on, falling off, and then eventually try and focus on getting my feet on the board.
Yeah. That was nice. Nailed that one. Let's see how his landing looks. Yeah, James, all the way in. Come in. There you go. Woohoo! And that's right. Oh, that was a good one. You started nice and shallow. Good run up.
Yeah.
Enough speed. That was a good one. Very, very good. So this time, what we're gonna do? I think James, if you can get that same speed.
Yeah.
And try jump onto the board before the wave.
Okay.
Otherwise it's very deep and it's hard to get on the board.
I think I jumped on the, like in the wave.
What I was saying, move this hand. Yeah. And then hand multiple. There you go. Keep your hands for the foil because faster you run, more lift the foil is going to make, so you have to make sure to keep it under. And then jump forward onto the foil and you're up already. So
I can feel while I'm running, suddenly the board just drops. So I'm like, this is the foil's coming out of the water. So. Here we go.
Okay, start. So you just want to make sure when you're running that your front hand is towards the front of your board, almost by the front of the pad. The back one is close to the back, so quite a wide stance.
Okay.
So it gives you enough space to actually get your feet in between your hands. You can actually use the lift of the foil, so you don't just use your legs. So as you're running, you get enough speed, you actually feel the foil pushing up. That was awesome. James, high five. Woo! Got it, looked really good. How did it feel?
Felt amazing, that feeling of running through the water, and when you actually get on the board and you start going, it's so cool, man.
Amazing.
No, really wild.
So stoked that we got it. Amazing conditions. Let's get back to office.
Nate, thanks so much for all the keys.
Thanks, that was a lot of fun. We've been through a lot, so I hope it really helped out. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and stay tuned for a lot more exciting and creative content coming soon. It is going to be awesome. So see you all in the next episode.
Check.
Hey, almost.